All right, here we go. Let's do our examples for this 13-1 lesson, so part 2 video. Example 1, graph the equation y equals negative 2x plus 1. So this is our linear equation here. Remember, first thing we want to do is make a table of values. Now I started this just so we can get through, and the video is not super long, but I will walk you step by step through our last example on the next page, so don't worry. What I did was I plugged in the equation like it asked, and then I chose my x values. Again, I choose a negative, 0, and a positive. I just keep it simple with our ones. I plug in negative 1 into our equation and I get out 3, so I have the point negative 1, 3. I plugged 0 into the equation and got 1, so I have the point 0, 1. And then lastly, I plugged positive 1 into the equation and I got negative 1, so I have 1, negative 1. Now let's plot these points together. You have 3 points that you're plotting, and then you're going to create your line. So let's start here. Thought I could zoom more, guess not. Remember, this is your x-axis, this is your y. We're going to start negative 1, 3. Go to the left 1, up 3. Next point is 0, 1. Stay at 0, go up 1. And then our last point is positive 1. So I'm going to go to the right 1, negative 1. I'm going to go down 1. Now I have my 3 points. Last step is just draw a line through the points. Remember to extend further up and down to draw your arrows. Just make it as straight as you can. And we are done. That's it for that equation. So we did it. Let's move to our second page of notes. We're going to do examples 2 and 3 together fully. Now example 2, we want to graph a horizontal and a vertical line. First example, we have y equals negative 3. So if they tell you in the directions it's going to be vertical or horizontal, which normally it won't, you should just be able to identify it. But you want to think of your acronyms, HOI and BUCS. And I'm going to write them at the top for us. So if it's y equals negative 3, that's our y, so I'm looking at the acronym that has y in it, so HOI, I know that it's going to be a horizontal line. Now, y equals negative 3 is telling me that I need to go on my y-axis to negative 3 and put a point. And now I know that it should be a horizontal line, so it should look something like that. All we're going to do is draw a line, horizontal line, through that point on y equals negative 3. And that's it. That's your graph. So you don't need to create a table for these. If it's horizontal or vertical, that's why you just kind of need to know that acronym and know how to plot it, because you can't create a table, right? There's no x value in that equation, so we can't choose x values and plug it in to get y values. Your y is always going to be negative 3. Now for B, we have graph x equals 2. So since it's an x equals, we're looking at BUCS, and we know that it's going to be a vertical line. Now this time, since it's x equals 2, you're going to go on your x-axis this time to 2 and plot your point. And now since it's a vertical line, which looks like this, we're just going to draw a straight line, straight vertical line through that point. And we are done. That is it. So we graphed x equals 2 and y equals negative 3. All right, let's do this entire example 3 together. This is another linear equation, but we have a word problem here. So it says the wind speed y in miles per hour of a tropical storm is y equals 2x plus 66, where x is the number of hours after the storm enters the Gulf of Mexico. So if x is representing the number of hours, this is something important when there's a word problem like this. We're choosing x values to represent hours. So when we choose that, we cannot have a negative amount of hours. So we're going to start in the positives, and we're going to start with 0, and then just choose all positive values for the number of hours that pass. Now we're going to plug each of those individually into the equation to find what the y value is, and then the entire ordered pair that we have to plot. So I'm going to write this out. 2 times 0 plus 66. I know 2 times 0 is 0, plus 66 gives us 66. Now plug 1 in, you get 2 plus 66. That gives us 68. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 66 gives us 70. And then plug 3 in. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 66 is 72. You may have noticed as you did that we're increasing by 2 each time. Now what you need to do is create your ordered pairs so you know what you're graphing. So our first point is 0, 66. Then we have 168, 270, and 372. All right, now we're going to plot these ordered pairs. Notice our y values are very large. We can't just count by 1, so let's label our y-axis where we'll reach from 66 to 72. I'm going to start us off here at 60, and I'm going to label every other one. We are counting by 2s, but I'm jumping, so I'm really going to count by 4s if you want to think of it that way. Our x-axis can stay as 1s because we have 0, 1, 2, 3. And now let's just plot each of these points. Can I zoom in any further? No? All right, 0, 66, 168, 270, 372. Connect all of those points to form your straight line and continue through up to the right. Now, why should I not continue down to the left like this? Think about that. Maybe you're thinking because we can't have a negative amount of hours, and you are absolutely correct. So don't extend that down to the left because we can't have a negative amount of hours. It's not going to go that way. Our graph is just staying in this quadrant 1 region. That's it. All right, so we're done part A. We graphed the equation. Now let's do part B. When does a storm become a hurricane? Now, something you need to know, piece of information that is not yet on your notes, but I'm going to tell you, and if this was a quiz, I would also tell you. The storm becomes a hurricane when the wind speed is at least 74 miles per hour. So we're looking for 74 miles per hour. If we look at our table, we only got up to 72, and that was at 3 hours. Maybe, again, you remember our pattern. We noticed that it was increasing by 2 each time. So I would get to 74 next, which means I would be at hour 4. So when does the storm become a hurricane? 4 hours after it enters the Gulf of Mexico. And that's it. That is our 13-1 lesson. Those are our examples. Now it's going to be your turn to do some practice. Hopefully you took some notes, wrote important things down. I think these 2 examples are extremely important.